Hello and welcome back to VIVA LA CATS. I'm your host, Justin Hiles, accompanied by my great friends, Steve Maurer and Joel Spencer. And we have some very special guests on the show today. Of course, none other than Coop and Kenny of the Roll Blob Pod. Gentlemen, as always, great to have you on. It is the Crosstown Crossover. This is, I believe, is this the fourth or third time we've done this?
Fourth, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is a long time going. So
I think they did 3 Jimmy Timmy Power Hours, so you guys have eclipsed that.
Good start.
Hey, it's like the fourth time we've done it. Xavier keeps winning, so we're going to keep doing it. Why do you guys hate middle schools?
We're just starting there, aren't we? We're just going right from the gun.
Yeah, come on. What's wrong? Like, let the kids have their fun. That's ridiculous.
We talked a little bit about the show. In all honesty, like, it is definitely something that's been way blown out of proportion and definitely should never have happened.
But that's the beauty of this, Justin.
Correct.
Is that we do something stupid and they jump all like you've been on all our asses on and off the court. And that's like one of the few compliments I will give to you guys tonight, because I don't want to compliment you, but like, I don't know, the natural just push to just kick our asses on the basketball court and then in everything else, respect, and I had somebody in the mentions last year saying, oh, we don't care about this game enough. I'm like, we fucking should. Like, we should, dude. Like, what do you, that was one guy, by the way. That's not me. I care.
I guess my counter question is, why does Xavier, a known Catholic school, care so much about pleasing middle schoolers?
Look,
that happens. It's one guy, one person at the top making a decision that they don't think is ever going to be public, and then it happens and they can't go back on it. I don't think that there was anything malicious about it. It was just like, they put themselves in a bad spot and they didn't feel like backtracking. And then Xavier, whoever it was, hopped all over it, and
it 100% goal. Like, Xavier handled this the perfect way, because getting some random middle school in middle America to just hop in some college storied rivalry is honestly such a cool story. Like, it sucks that we're on the wrong side of it, but it's such a cool story that actually got some national tracking.
Yeah, even Barstool, National Barstool tweeted about it and made an article, and the cover photo they used for it, I'll show the camera. Sorry for the people listening, not watching. They show Kenny Frease of the Roll Blob podcast right there as their headline. National Barstool.
Let us also add this, because Steve and I are familiar with this at this point, but Joel might be a little starstruck in the moment, because up until about 5 seconds before the show started, he did not know what Kenny is on this show. So there you go.
Last time we did it, it was pretty funny, because I came in like 20 minutes into the show.
Yeah, right. We were like full rolling, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh shit, okay.
No, I mean, the thing is like, people talk. I still, to this day, like, that whole thing happened, and it was, to me, it was just cool. Like, of course, I was angry, but at the same time, like, 20 minutes after it, you're sitting there, and obviously we won the game, which is the most important thing. But then after that, you're just sitting there and you're thinking like, wow, I'm going to be a part of the Crosstown Shootout lore for the rest of eternity. Like, that's freaking awesome. That, number one. And number two, like, people blew it way out of proportion. Like, number one, the quotes from Two and Cheeks, like, obviously badass. I love it. But at the same time, they shouldn't have let him go on. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been like, if they're going to let them go on, like, I've always had like this regret that I didn't just walk into the media room with a bloody eye and just like do the thing. Like, I really wanted to, but Mac wouldn't let me. But it was such a weird moment, man. I'm backstage, or back behind the scenes, getting stitches. Flukes was actually doing the stitches and all that, and I'm just sitting there thinking, like, people are going to be talking about this forever. Like, I'll take a punch to be a part of that. That's fine with me.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the more iconic moments in the rivalry. Every single promo that'll ever be cut leading into the game or for whatever broadcast or, whoever wants to talk about it, you absolutely will always be mentioned. So that's definitely pretty cool to have that sort of iconic moment.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
do you
especially for
think
us.
ESPN Plus is going to have access to that footage?
Oh, they will. They will. Don't you
Okay.
worry. They're gonna find it and they're gonna pull it and they're gonna use every resource possible because ESPN Plus, part of the ESPN wing, is very widespreading across the nation, very versatile, can be used everywhere. They're not this Fox Sports presentation or what have you.
Well, I'm just
Okay.
excited for, biggest game of the season for both of us so far. We're going to be hyped up, and then we're going to look at a screen of the ESPN building and say commercial break in progress, and then get right back into it. I
Your
can't wait.
program is not started yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so glad they changed the song. Like, you guys don't know. Like,
It's
because
a
you guys don't
banger.
have to watch.
It's a
No,
banger.
no. God, that song was awful, Joel. Like,
Terrible.
please.
No, the new
Like,
song.
Oh, no. The new song. You're right. Because the old one was just a commercial. It was like live sports, documentaries.
That was
and
awful.
it was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Just the endless 10-second loop.
Yeah, it was awful. So just be glad you guys don't have to do that.
It's absolutely a tragedy to the rivalry and to college basketball, though, that there are so many big rivalry games on this Saturday, and we got relegated to ESPN Plus. Like,
Well, maybe it
it's
wouldn't be
awful.
on ESPN Plus if Xavier was ranked.
Mm.
Perhaps.
I think that's been planned for a while now.
It's definitely.
Do you mean not being ranked, like going into the season without any hype, or?
I mean, I would be willing to say that going into the season, there was a lot more hype than there is now. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But we're kind of in the same situation we were last year when you have Quincy that makes his Xavier debut basically in the Crosstown shootout. And, it's the thing that worries me the most is with the amount of turnover that Xavier has had for the last couple of years, how much these guys can really be involved in the rivalry, right? Like, it doesn't, for me, I had 4 years of it. I had playing in what was that summer league?
Oh, Devereaux.
I had playing in the Devereaux League, playing open gym every Wednesday night with the UC guys in the summertime. Like, those guys don't have that experience of, truly hating another team. You know what I mean? Like, they know it. They're going to watch the videos. I'm sure that Miller and Dante and all those guys have a video queued up that's going to get them fired up. But like, how fired up can they be? And I think that Miller and Dante can get them there, but it's just going to be those guys buying in and understanding what the game means.
Yeah.
Well, let me be real for a second. Like, is there any, like, I mean, I know you guys have on, like, shout out to Sean and then Steele and Mac before that. Like, I feel like the motivation has always been there from a coaching standpoint. Whereas for us, I don't know, for a while we just didn't talk about it at all, which was a great idea. But is there an actual like thought that, there might be a little bit of, oh yeah, we've won 5 straight against these guys, we're gonna roll, like, or is like, you think it's like fully okay? Yeah,
I mean, you're not required to say that on this show. You don't have to say that it's 5 straight.
I would be right. I would be shocked if in the recruiting visits for Maddox and Hughley and Conwell, like, I would be shocked if this game wasn't talked about in that presentation, like going and playing in one of the greatest rivalries in college basketball in the nation. I don't care what anybody says. Like, North Carolina Duke's up there for sure, but like, Xavier Cincinnati is maybe the best rivalry in the country. We don't have the biggest programs, but just what the rivalry has brought from Cincinnati being number one and, and Xavier knocking them off and just the back and forth throughout the years. I just don't think that there's really a rivalry out there that's like this. And maybe I have some bias, but I mean, when you have people from California talking about the Crosstown shootout, like, that's crazy to me. And being a part of that was awesome. But then, like, I would guarantee that has been talked about in the recruiting visits and probably since the year started at Xavier. Like, there's a circle on this game. So I would think that they have that under control.
And that's been kind of our problem just in general for this game during this streak is that, it started with Mix last year, and then, you had 2 down years with Brandon and then 3 years with Wes, where I feel like Wes has been building up his team. And I feel that Wes has been able to talk about it the right way, but there's obviously like a results factor there. Well, no, I take that back. Well, Mick won his last year, but he lost so many games to y'all that anyway.
I mean, the thing that is crazy to me is that, when I get into it with UC fans on Twitter and stuff like that, that they're like, oh, well, this game means a lot more to you guys. And it's like, okay, well, that I don't know that I feel like they think that's a burn, like
I hate that. I hate
that.
it.
It really rubs me the wrong way, because it's like, I was a part of the game, right? I know how much it means to both teams. I know how much it means when we're talking shit to each other at 10 p.m. on a Wednesday night in June. Like that, those game that all of that stem. I mean, when we're out at a club at 2:00 in the morning getting in fights with UC players, like that game means a lot to both programs. Okay. I don't care what any fan says. I don't care what anybody says. The guys that are playing in that game, the coaches that are coaching in that game, it means a lot to those guys. So it might not mean a lot to Joe Smo that's talking shit on Twitter, but it means a lot to the players and the coaches, and they need to know that.
Well, and I'd say one thing that really does not help this whole situation too, unfortunately, speaking of the streak, is the fact that it's just been a while. It's a dry spell for UC fans. It's a dry spell for the program in general, where this game has traditionally always been that one thing where it's like, this is the gear up game for conference play. This is a gear up game, based on the results of this, how your season is going to go. It is it's a determination, really. I mean, because if you look at the seasons past, whoever generally performs well and wins in this game generally goes on to have a good season. It's not just a fluky one-off type of thing. And so I think that value has been kind of tough for a lot of Bearcats fans, where they're like, I just want to like move on. And now that we've got the Big 12, there's the whole new conference realignment and all this. There's so much other big games that people are looking at where, unfortunately, of course, we're not any of those people, but unfortunately, some people just start to devalue it in their mind. But if you flip that and you win this game, I'm telling you, like all those people, it's going to be the avalanche of like, oh, screw you, Xavier sucks. This is all, It's a whole big thing again.
It's the people that are, they're too big of a coward to talk shit before the game. Mm-hmm. They only want to talk shit after they've already won, and like that's but that's the thing is like, if you don't have, as a player, really in anything that you do, it doesn't have to be basketball or even a sport, but if you're not willing to talk shit about what you're about to do, then you don't deserve to talk shit at all. You know what I mean? Like you go out and get a win, then just be the guy that goes out and gets a win. Don't be the guy that's talking shit after, because then you just look like a clown.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing too, that that has always like made me laugh kind of about like when people are talking shit to you, Kenny, is that like, I mean, we got our asses kicked in that game, and then they always like, I don't know, put the GIF out there. I'm like, you guys know,
dude,
like
I love it. Because every time I see,
I know you do, because you won. We lost.
Well, no, it's not. It really doesn't even matter if we won. I mean, obviously, I love that we won, but like, anytime somebody posts something about it, I automatically retweet it and talk shit to that person, because I know that tweet's going to get like 50,000 views. Like, it's a huge engagement farm on Twitter. I'm using it every time. 100%.
You have a cheat code. On social media just for the rest of your life.
I've looked at like the analytics of my Twitter, and like, I'm not a huge analytics guy, but it's just like, I like to look at that in like the November, December time. Like, you'll see a spike in my Twitter in November. It'll be like, 20,000 views or something in November. And then I'll go to December and it'll be like 600,000 impressions on tweets, because I love it, dude. I love trolling UC fans, and just, UC, Butler, all those, a couple different teams, but just like, and people get so out of pocket and frustrated, and like they start calling me like all these crazy names, and I'm just like, dude, I love this. It makes me so happy when people get angry.
Well, I actually wanted to ask you this, because you just mentioned Butler kind of funnily offhand, but we obviously just played Villanova, unfortunately taking a loss to a 4-4 Villanova, not the Nova of past. But I'm curious, from your guys' perspective, who plays Nova every single year, like, what do you take away from that game? And like, does it make you feel more confident about that? Or do you think that it's just kind of like still the same expectation? It's probably going to be a tough game for Xavier, but I don't know. I mean,
are you talking about playing against Villanova or playing against UC?
Specifically, what did Cincinnati losing to Villanova do for y'all as far as your expectations for the game this week?
I mean, I look at it like, I've started doing the Field of 68 podcast, so I have a much bigger overview of college basketball than I normally would. And one of the there's a team. One of the teams that really interests me in all of college basketball right now is Florida, because Florida is, right in the middle of the SEC record wise. They're they're undefeated, but in the power rankings, they're right in the middle of the SEC. But they really haven't been tested at all, right? So that's kind of the same situation with UC that I see. Like they have that game against Villanova, who, Villanova, they have a coach that his back's against the wall. Like he's been on the hot seat since the middle of last season. I'm surprised he's still there. So then you have this game where they're gonna put all the parts together a couple times this year and beat some good teams. So, but then, as UC and like Florida's concerned, you guys haven't really been tested yet. And so to come out and lose that game to Villanova, then that's kind of like one step towards like, okay, well, maybe they're not a top 15 in the country, a top 15 team in the country. But I don't think that doesn't define a season. You know what I mean? I don't think that Xavier players or fans or anybody should look at that loss and say like, oh yeah, well, we're going to beat them now. Like, I don't think that's the case at all. I think that it's just, look at that Villanova tape, see what they did, see what Villanova did well, see what UC had trouble with, and kind of go from there. And if more and more teams were able to kind of put that formula together, UC could have a tough few games coming up here, because both of our schedules are about to start getting pretty crazy.
I think you could also make a case for it just being a chess move by the Bearcats, because I saw this on Twitter, and of course everything you read on the internet is true. Yeah. But I believe that with the win, Villanova actually moved up in the net to where that loss is now a Q1 loss.
Oh, nice! Congrats. That's a huge deal.
Does it matter if they're Q1 now or Q1 at the end of the season?
I mean, ask the college football playoff, because they all only wanted to go by record against current top 25 teams rather than fair. The moment. Rankings are all just so wishy-washy this time of year anyways. It's just win the game ahead of you.
The rankings have never meant less than right now.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Like never. Like at least before, you could look at the team's last performance. You could look at high school tape of freshmen coming in and be like, okay, does that translate? But like, you look at a guy like Dante Maddox, for example. He is an absolute monster at Toledo. And I think that he still has all the ability in the world, but now he's playing at Xavier. He's a sixth man, and he's not getting those high volume shots where he can score 25 and 30 points a game. And he's not thriving in this situation. I think that he has the ability to do it, but he hasn't been given the opportunity. And that could be for 100 different reasons. It could be because he's not playing well in practice. He's not giving effort. I mean, there's so many different things that it could be, but it's so hard to make rankings, because before the season, you're like, okay, you got a guy he can make shots from 30 feet. He's scoring 25 points a game. Like, that'll probably translate. And it hasn't, but Xavier was ranked pretty highly, in the like top 30-ish range before the season, because we get a guy like Maddox and we get guys like Conwell Conwell has produced to exactly what we thought he was going to be, but it's just really difficult to see how it translates from the MAC to the Big East. And that's what they're trying to do.
Basically, what you're saying is Maddox is going to go off in this game.
There's always one player.
We've actually been talking about it.
Our last stream we did, who'd they just play? TCU. Kenny did say Dante Maddox is going to go off in the shootout, and he started to. He got hot in the second half of the TCU game, and Kenny, to kind of piggyback on the rankings, I would argue the rankings did mean quite a bit 2 weeks ago when Xavier was second. Yeah. But now, especially at this point, I don't think they're really relevant at all.
No. Can I ask a question real quick about the stream that you guys did for the Michigan game? You used a certain phrase in your promo for the Michigan game. Do you think that led into your performance again in that game, and then another Ohio team's performance in that game the following week, like the same time?
First of all, Coop's the Ohio State fan, and Coop made the graphics. So I gotta.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's why I'm.
I think something. It was a rough week for me, man. Because going into it, I was thinking like, okay, it'd be great. Xavier beats Michigan on whatever day that was, Wednesday. Ohio State beats them in football on Saturday, went 0 for 2. It sucked. But, it was also a big week for Quincy Oliveri. I mean, he starts 1 week on the Roll Blob podcast stream against Michigan. and then scores 3 points for the Lakers yesterday in his NBA debut. So
And
I
Quincy
mean,
called Dante going off too in the shootout. So.
Of course.
Yeah.
We're definitely
passing the torch from one man to
But you want to
another.
see, but Quincy's a perfect example of a guy that was able to step into a program and immediately understand the importance of that game. I mean,
Yeah.
you talk to his mom, Courtney, and she still gets fired up about UC because of how much he was talking about it and how much Miller talked to her about it. Like it, once you put on that Xavier blue, man, like I instantly started hating red. Like I still to this day don't generally like red in anything that I do.
That's how I am. I'm the same way with blue. Like I literally, one of my coworkers came into work today and was wearing blue, and he went to UC. I'm like, you're really wearing that during shootout week?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Seriously?
did that affect how you guys voted?
I went the other way from the red team on that one, but
I didn't mean that was just a joke. I wasn't expecting any.
I'm on a national podcast now. I'm not talking about who.
Yes, good job, Kenny.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
can we talk about Zach Freemantle real quick? I mean, he has a chance to win more shootouts as a player than Mick Cronin ever did.
yeah,
That's
well,
true.
you know,
We
guys
actually
love to talk about
did
Nick,
look
so.
it up.
That's so funny.
Coop brought it up, and we had to figure it out. If he wins, he'll have more wins than Mick Cronin.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is
What is that,
pretty
like
wild.
7 or 8? How long has he been there?
This is his
Like 10 years?
He's been there since 2016.
2016?
Not actually, no.
2018, I think.
2018, 2019.
Jesus, I was gonna say, dude, like I graduated high school, I've been working professionally for like 3 years and went into a 5-year program.
Yeah.
How is this guy still here?
Dude, there is a guy. Coop, we just watched was it last year or the beginning of this year? We watched a guy that was in his 8th year and he still had one more year of eligibility. Like this dude's 30 years old playing basketball.
Oh, Seth Towns, right? Is that
Seth Towns was?
Who did he play for?
He was at Ohio State and started at Harvard.
Oh yeah, right. And then, but he went somewhere else before. Yeah, that was nuts, dude.
And
I mean,
then,
wait,
that's
Towns
almost
played for. Did Towns play for Howard? We played Towns last year.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he went to Howard after Ohio State. And then there's a guy on Texas Southern playing right now who he played in 2018 as well because he played against Xavier back in like 2018 for Georgetown, and so he's been there forever.
I can tell you with this NIL money, I'm gonna be pushing to play for 8 years. In college too.
Yeah, how much eligibility do you have left?
Dude, if I never got a COVID year, so
There you go.
If you have like the COVID eligibility, you at least have a 5th year. With the portal, you might have a 6th. Did you ever use a red shirt?
me, no.
Yeah. So you got a 3rd. You could play. You could hop back in.
Justin,
man.
don't insult the man.
Yeah. Right. No, but it's crazy. Back then, I mean, there was like very few. Every once in a while, you would see a guy that would get 6 years because he'd have his red shirt and then a medical red shirt and then get to play 4. But that was so rare. I mean, most of the time it wasn't even because if you get injured too late, you can't take the medical red shirt and all that stuff. But dude, I can't imagine it. I mean, I can't imagine being like 27 years old and playing college basketball. But if you can do it, why wouldn't you?
It's the same in college football right now. There are guys getting their 9th years of eligibility now.
Yeah, that one dude from Miami. Yeah, I mean, like,
we act like we don't have to go out here and play 24, 25-year-olds against 17, 18, 19-year-olds.
That's insane. But then you have to remember that the best player in college basketball is 17 years old. So
yeah.
I mean, it's always those young dudes, just crazy.
And I was talking about Dalen Swain last year, by the way.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well,
Walked yourself right into it, Steve.
No. Let me walk y'all into something real quick.
Well, you can't tell us you're walking us into it.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, fair enough. The dunks. I'm okay. Anyway. No, I know you're good. That's the perfect epitome of this rivalry, Kenny, over the last however many years. Is just hammer and nail. Although, we were a botch timeout away 2 years ago. We were that close. So,
Steve, don't make us the what if team.
I mean,
that's
all
we have right now, Joel.
Speaking of what ifs, though, Justin, there was a certain guy who was in the coaching talks over the last couple of times that this UC basketball head coaching job has been open. And he actually did just recently pay a visit to the Cintas Center and gave you guys a pretty nice game. What happened there? Playing SC State real close for about 40 minutes there. Can you let me in there? What happened? Maybe Eric's gonna give us some scouting tips.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about any of Xavier's previous games this year. Let's move on.
We're on to Cincinnati, like Bill Belichick said. Not to look past Morgan State, but
we never would.
It's funny you have to say on to Cincinnati because you guys aren't in Cincinnati anyways, so you do have to go into Cincinnati.
No, we're in Cincinnati, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Well, it's funny that Joel's on here because he was the one that did the interview for Kenny, I don't think we told you last year. We were on the Barstool team for a few years there. Like we were on it from 16 to 2019. And Joel actually, we went on campus and we interviewed some like Xavier students. And Joel, we found Zach Hankins outside the arena, and Joel pulled out like a pocket map. And like was like showing him like just the differences between the city and stuff. And I'm
pretty sure he admitted like it looks like we're
that was the best part. And then you high-fived Travis Steele, who was running around.
I did, he was running laps in the stadium. That was a great video. We lost that year, but that was a great video.
And there it is. There's always the kicker at the end.
We lost that year, but a great video. Yeah.
I mean,
big win for you guys. That was a funny video. I really like it.
We also did when we played Ohio State in football and also lost in that game. We went up to their campus and put the Bearcat tape over every on campus that we could find to call them just another Ohio State University.
And then we didn't score a point.
I can't. I mean, we're all in agreement on that. I cannot stand when they say the Ohio State University.
Whether it's Akron, Toledo, OU, Miami, Xavier, UC, we all stand in solidarity against Ohio State.
I disagree.
I've been a Notre Dame fan since I was 6 years old. I couldn't give a shit less about.
Hey, go Marcus Freeman.
Yeah, that's our guy.
Future Ohio State head coach Marcus Freeman. Love to see it.
Oh, you can have him. I want Matt Campbell to be in Notre Dame.
Okay, real quick, since we're all talking about this is actually really funny. I went to Chicago over this past week for work, and I happened to be walking the streets. I saw a Bears flag, and then right next to it, outside this bar, there was this sign. Look, or this flag. But wait, this is also me flipping you off.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody tagged this flag with a Michigan helmet sticker head center of the Ohio State University.
Is that's a sticker plant?
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, they got to start putting them on there like the Buckeye stickers on the helmets. Been 4 straight years now.
They even convinced a Herb Street to go to Michigan.
Seems like those stickers used to mean a lot more than they do now, right?
Helmet stickers, I think you get one if you. Yeah, I think you get one if you show up to film session on time.
Well, Ohio State doesn't put as many on their helmets as they used to. You would look in week 12 and the helmets would be filled, and now they're not. I think it's just because of the longer seasons with the playoffs and stuff. They actually scaled back on them.
See, I'm a fan of. They can't put stickers over the Notre Dame's helmets because there's real gold in them, so they don't want to cover it up.
Yeah,
there's gold in them shells, liquid gold.
Are you going to the playoff game this weekend?
No.
Or no, it's not this weekend. It's
on the 21st.
Yeah, it's the 20th. That's actually my family Christmas party. So I'll be watching for sure.
Yeah.
I would be surprised. My brother-in-law or my father-in-law may be going to the game. I know that they're much closer than I am.
Well, here's the real question of games. Like, who all is actually going to be in attendance for this? Is I know Steve's not going to be, but we over here will be. Will y'all?
No.
We'll be.
Dude, if I walked into that arena, it would be a problem.
I never really thought about that.
The last time I was there, I headbutted Yancey Gates.
It's a good point. It's fair.
It's not happening.
What are the odds that he's there?
I'm not worried about him being there. I would actually like to see him. I'm talking about the fans.
Yeah,
that's fair. I mean, that'd kind of be fun though. Like, You definitely would be the ire of the crowd for sure.
Yeah, they give me out like if I got a broadcasting gig for the game at
Oh
UC,
my
that would be
God.
incredible.
Could we manufacture that? Like,
Oh
could we
no,
get, like, a
no.
side broadcast
This is
and
what we
you
do. The you know, like the alternate telecast they do for the playoff where they have like players sitting
Yeah.
on the sideline. Like that's what we have. We have Kenny and I mean, I guess we could have Yancey, but you know, we could figure something else out. You know,
I
but,
guess would that be an ESPN plus?
yeah.
ESPN 2 plus, yeah.
That'll be the
Yeah.
Facebook live stream.
ESPN 8 the Ocho. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got that rolling in. But that would be funny though. That would be really funny if we had something like that.
It would definitely be fun to do that. If they had like the alternate broadcast for when it's at Xavier, you have 2 UC guys doing it, and when it's at UC, you have 2 Xavier guys doing it. That would be a cool.
I've
idea.
always been a fan of the Homer broadcasts. Like,
I mean, you definitely could do that because similar with the home radio shows, we've got Dan Horde and Terry Nelson that travel like to the away games as well. That sit on the broadcast booth. So if you think you've got a face for radio, you could definitely do that too.
Oh, I got a face for radio all day, man.
So let me ask you guys. We talked about just a little bit about the back end of, we talked about a couple of your guys. I have not really watched much Xavier this year, to be honest. Like I mean, we have a shit football team, and we just dropped a game in basketball. So
I made a lot of money on UC football this year. I just bet against
smart play. Smart play.
But Miami, Ohio. Was it the first game of the year? Miami, Ohio. They were like plus 320 to beat you guys, and I hammered it.
Oh yeah, that was like game 3. Yeah. We luckily won that one because there was a streak.
Who was it?
That was last.
Towson. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it was. I was betting. I bet against him every single week. And
it's all good. I know you guys have to pay attention to other football teams because Xavier doesn't have football.
Yeah. Well, we just stick with the Catholics, man. I stick with Notre Dame.
Yeah.
That
sounds about right.
Yeah.
Well, so what's so our preconceived notions of you guys are you're going to come in and hit about like 25 threes and somehow out rebound us and pull out a dub. But what is the actual like kind of vibe of this team this year? I don't. The only thing I really know about Xavier from an X's and O's standpoint is that I saw a Big East meme where it's like, where is your half court offense gone? And then it was like Xavier next to it. So other than that, I don't really know much about you guys. I was looking at like the Ken Palm. Like the ratings don't really like you guys this year, but what's kind of been the story so far?
The story is we have a lot of talent and we're underachieving, like 100%. It's Xavier has top 25 talent on this team. There's no doubt about it. They need more from Hughley, like 100%. They need more from him. Losing Traore at the beginning of the season, he was going to be the guy in the post, and I think the next year, a lot of people are going to see that. If he stays, who knows? With NIL, like he might find another school. Who knows? But Traore was going to be a huge piece of the offense and defense. Hughley needs to step into that role and be more physical. Last game, he had one made shot, and it was a 3-pointer. He had 1 rebound. He played 14 minutes. He's 6'10", 270. Like you need more from him than that. Fremantle and Conwell they're gonna give it to you every single night. They're gonna get 20. Fremantle's gonna have a double-double. Like that's gonna be what it is. If they're able to get McKnight back to the guy he was last year, maybe scoring a little bit more, but just being a floor general, that's going to be a problem. All of these things need to come in place, and Xavier can be very good. They can beat anybody. But if they play like they did the last 3 games, they're going to struggle all year. And that's just what it is. If they need Hughley, they need more out of him.
So they very likely will put it all together this week.
Probably. Yeah.
We're hoping.
If history teaches anything.
You've seen glimpses of it. They looked really good against Wake Forest, really good against South Carolina, had all the momentum in the world, all the confidence, and started out okay against Michigan, and then they've really lost touch since then. But yeah, no better time to put it together. First with Morgan State. We're not looking past the Bears.
Well, and another player that is a huge factor in Xavier being good is Dalen Swain. I've been talking about him since the beginning of last year. He this season put on like 30 pounds. I mean, he has an NBA lottery pick type body. If he can put together the skill and, you know, the basketball knowledge and just being good in games, he's going to be an NBA player. There's no doubt in my mind. The dude can dunk from the free throw line. He's not a good shooter, but I mean, defensively, rebounding, all that stuff, shooting can come later. He just needs to focus on that. And I've been saying it since last season and at the beginning of this season. If he can be a guy that gets like, you know, 6, 6, and 6, just like 6 points, 6 rebounds, 6 steals, Xavier is going to be very good because that means that he's all over the place on offense and defense.
Well, you say you've got top 25 talent and a potential, you know, lottery pick style athleticism in a player, and that you're underachieving this year. If everything clicks, if you guys put it all together, do you think this is a year you finally make a Final Four?
Hey, you know what? I put it out there that I'm getting a tattoo if they do. So I need him to start. I need him to step up because I've been looking for another tattoo, man. I'm itching. But no, but the thing is that you guys have seen what happens in March. I mean, you see teams every year do crazy things. And do I think that this is a Final Four team? Probably not. But if they're able to put it together and start getting, you know, like 10-10 numbers from Hughley, I think that this team looks completely different because right now it's very difficult when you have Conwell and Fremantle that defenses can completely focus on. If that's going to be the case all year, they're going to struggle. But they really have a lot of talent. They have a lot of offensive firepower, and I'm surprised they're not scoring 90 points a game. Like that's weird to me.
And you go ahead, Steve.
Oh, I was going to say, like, just looking at, like, you know, like the basketball reference for X, and like there's like 3 guys, like averaging, or 4 guys averaging over 25 minutes a game. Like that's like, you know, you're not going to be playing like it's probably a better thing for both teams to have this game earlier on in the year, obviously, because you're at full strength. But I kind of wonder, just as the year goes on, if that bench doesn't really develop into where you want it to be, and then you have, you know, Fremantle's having to play like 36 minutes a night. It's like a Dixon situation at Villanova. Like he had to play, they had to get him out of the game in like the last minute before each media break against UC, for example. And like he went off, he had 36, but he had to play like 33 minutes. He had half their points. Like I'm kind of wondering if that's the same thing. Obviously more talent spread across the team on Xavier than in just one guy in Dixon, for just that Villanova example from watching that game. But I kind of wonder that too, if like it's just you need that bench to develop, or else you're just trying to rely on 4 guys for the rest of the season.
Yeah, you definitely do. But I mean, like I just go back and look at my time in Xavier. My senior year, 2 all the way averaged like 41 minutes a game. He literally never came out. We had 2 or 3 overtime games. Like there, with the amount of timeouts in college, it's not hard to play 30. I mean, I was doing it at 7 foot, 280, 290. Like you can easily for an entire season average 35, 36 minutes a game. It's not that hard. I mean, and like you're saying, taking them out for 30 minutes or for 30 seconds before media timeouts, like managing your players' win just comes down to the coach, because as long as you're able to keep that in your mind that you need to get him, you take him out for 30, you call a timeout with, 30 seconds before the media timeout, you sit him down, that's a minute and a half. And then however long that 30 seconds takes, another 2 minutes for a commercial break. I mean, you're getting a 5-minute break every, 4.5 minutes. Like it's really not that difficult to do that.
That's very fair. That's a good way of looking at it. I think, one thing that I look at too, from kind of the way that you've described it, it seems almost as if Xavier's sort of having the situation that we had last year, where there's a lot of talent and you're trying to put the pieces together early. Mm-hmm. And not only that, like the focus is on 1 or 2 guys. And I think towards the end of the season for us, if this follows suit for Xavier, obviously good for y'all, but it starts to open up throughout the season. You see the guys kind of fall into place. Yeah. They find their rhythm. Once conference play starts, your roster gets whittled down, so you have more guys playing more minutes, and the guys who aren't playing as many are just off. They're not in that rotation. So right. I feel like that's the kind of thing that I'm hoping is the difference, at least for us this year, where we have a very established starting five. Now we're reaching a little bit deeper into our pocket this year. You're already seeing for us like the effect of Paige. Paige has been absolutely huge for us off the bench. You're seeing the effectiveness of even having Betsy in there. You're seeing some of these guys come off the bench really making some moves, which is a thing that like last year, it felt like that core was so reliant, even though we had a good bench. I think this year that's going to be the biggest difference in this game is really who can go farther down into their bench and, who's going to be able to establish that presence. Because if you don't have your rosters, figured out at this point, I think it's a little finicky in this game. Of course, you still need all of the offseason, but in this game, I feel like you have to have it figured out. And this is what we've said and we'll continue to say, every single season. It's like, this is the game where if you don't have your shit figured out, it's going to be a rough ride through conference play. It's going to be a rough ride because you have to get everything into place in order to try to win, and I think with how Xavier's set this year, and I think with how Cincinnati's set this year, obviously things are leaning in our favor, but it's, I don't know. I feel weird about this game in a way. Like, I feel like a lot of Xavier fans probably think that, it might be a tougher out this year. I don't know. Like, this is the one that scares me every single year. And I feel like as much as y'all have been down a little bit the past week or two, I'm more nervous, honestly, than I was like 4 weeks ago. And I should feel better because we got our loss out of the way to Nova.
But it's just one of those rivalries where it just doesn't matter.
I know.
Everything leading up, the scope of work doesn't matter. Like, it's just fresh. And like, someone's going to step up on one of the teams out of nowhere. There's going to be something crazy that happens, like calling a timeout intentionally when you don't have any timeouts, or a fight or whatever. There's going to be something crazy that happens. But I mean, from like most Xavier fan perspective, like, yeah, you're going on the road. You're playing a team that on paper is better than you so far. But still, like, I don't really think that is like taking any confidence away from Xavier. Like, it's still such a huge game that like Sean Miller is going to have the guys fired up. Like I'm more worried about them like putting together a complete game against Morgan State, like I know they're going to show up in the shootout. It's going to be close. It's going to be a close game, but I really just don't think anything leading up to the game matters.
It's similar to any rivalry game. You got to throw out the record books. You got to throw out anything that happened before. Both teams are 0-0. Even, the 5-6 game skid that the Bearcats are on. It's something that Xavier's going to go in with a little confidence, saying we own this rivalry right now. Like, let's go ahead and knock this out the way that we know we can. And I think the Bearcats, just looking at these last few weeks without Skillings, we kind of looked chaotic on the court. Our spacing wasn't there. Like our team chemistry, like looking at the Alabama State game, at the Nova game, like it was just chaotic. And so we finally got Skillings back, and you feel like the Bearcats are back in their rhythm that they started the season with. And, if things click for them, things are going to click for Xavier, just because it should be both teams Super Bowl until the postseason. You make fun of people who say, "Oh, we're your Super Bowl." We talked about it earlier. You should care about this rivalry. This is is the big one. If Ohio State wins the national championship this year, guess what? Michigan still gets to say, "Hey, we beat you that year."
And there's going to be Ohio State fans who are like, "Yeah, we won the national championship, but we lost to Michigan."
Yeah, that's gonna be me.
Yeah, I mean, 100%.
I mean, it's a huge rivalry. I mean, we're not doing crossover episodes with like a Villanova or Butler podcast, and you guys aren't doing one for Houston.
I mean,
Kansas
the
State.
thing is that another part about this rivalry that I think, and I mean, obviously people know about home court advantage and all those things, but it's very, very easy in a game like this on the other team's home court to get blown out. It happened to us. It happened to me when I played against you guys one time, and it happened to me when it happened to UC my senior year. Like, you just get your ass beat because the fans are on top of you. You can't get into a rhythm, whatever it is. Like that can really have an effect on the game. And if Xavier doesn't come out and, fully understand the meaning of this game, they get smacked in the mouth in the beginning and the fans are on them the entire game. Like, it's going to be tough for them to just claw their way back into this game. So they need to be ready the minute they come out. And if they're not, you may end up getting to a point where UC wins by 30. And if that happens, I'm going to be fucking livid. And honestly, that would make me more angry than anything, because I know what the game means. To this day, if I had another opportunity to go out and play in this game, being as fat as I am, out of shape, old, I would still go out there and I'd probably pass out doing everything I can to win the game.
Playing 41 minutes.
41 minutes. Well, I wouldn't need 41 because we weren't going to overtime.
Put me in, coach.
Yeah, put me in the game.
Put me in.
No, but you got to be ready. You have to be both sides. Both sides. You got to be ready from the second that ball gets thrown in the air, because if you're not ready, if you're not taking this game as seriously as you need to, the other team is going to boat race you. Yeah, and that's a fact of life.
So, Joel, you said earlier that we lost that year. We actually won that year. So that was the year that, for your video, because Hankins was only a 1-year player for X, true. Because he had played.
Yep.
And that was the year, the last year that all three of us were in the building for that one. And there was like a 15-point UC win. It was Steele's first year, I think. And, I think like there was probably a little bit of a talent difference there as well, just because of the coaching transition and just a new roster and stuff. But, 15 points in this rivalry. I don't know how many guys you beat us by. Like, you guys probably know by heart, like how much.
No, I really don't. But I know for sure that when I played at UC one time, I think we lost by 30. It was like 90 something to 60 something.
Was that like 2007, 08, Kenny?
It would have been my junior year. So 6, 7, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was there. I do remember that. Like I was like 11. And I remember that because I didn't think you guys were ranked, right? And like it was like mixed like first or second year. And I don't know. You like sometimes you just don't think you have a chance, and then you just go in, and that's that was a great win for us. But I don't know. I'm just like, I think we need something like that, because the problem with West for me, and it's not me, I feel like it's our fan base. The recruiting has been great. The player acquisition in the transfer portal has been great. Most of the in-game stuff has been great. Like I think a lot of people are really happy about with the hire. No one's saying he's on the hot seat or anything, but I still feel that he has not really had one unifying win where everybody really rallies around him and says, okay, this is the guy. Now, maybe you say like, because we beat BYU when they were a top 10 team last year. We beat BYU. Texas Tech when they were a top 15. Both those games on the road.
So those game at home. That was good.
Well, so that was what I was going to say though, Justin, is that I don't really feel like in West's tenure he's had one really everybody agrees like that was a huge win for West, and it's year 4 for him. And like I kind of have to think too that this means a lot to him, because obviously he played in that North Carolina Duke rivalry. He knows what it means, and I personally I think Wes is the guy, and I really like him, and obviously he's like doing a lot on the recruiting trail and all those other things I mentioned. But just for this fan base, it would mean like so much, just to finally win this game, Wes to be the coach, to get like that monkey off the back. And because you guys mentioned it for years, how many times did Mick not talk about the game, kind of shrivel up about it, and then come into the post-game press conference just angry and yelling at reporters about how we invented penicillin and all that good stuff.
And then he went to UCLA and said the best thing about going there was he never had to go back to Cintas.
Yeah. Like that game, I think that game like literally overtook him. And then that was the problem with a certain game in a canceled tournament that we don't have to talk about, where I feel like it kind of just ran downhill on him again. And I feel like, it was just like that game all over again, same colors, different team name. So,
I mean, what you're saying 100%. I mean, you get so much more leeway as a coach if you win the Crosstown Shootout. Like, absolutely. And I know you're not talking about just the Crosstown Shootout as that unifying win, but you guys could not make the tournament this year, but if you beat us, there wouldn't be anybody saying like, oh, we got to get rid of them, because it really does mean a lot. And anybody I don't want to keep harping on it, but it means a lot. So
no, I agree.
And on the other side of that, if you guys were to lose, make the tournament and do well, there would still be people that are saying like, man, this dude just can't beat Xavier. Like,
Yeah.
so like, it's just, it goes both ways on that.
I'll tell you,
Well,
that is a conversation that is.
I know we kind of like mentioned it a few times earlier in the show about like the whole OSU Michigan thing. I think this is a thing for locally in Cincinnati. It's a very similar type of rivalry where everybody hates each other. Look at that. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look across the results of the past few seasons, I think Ohio State fans could say they're probably decently happy, according to their standards, with the performance of the team over the past few years. But Ryan Day's huge issue is that he can't get over the hump with Michigan. He won like the first game like 4 seasons ago, and he hasn't been able to do it since. And that might be the thing that gets him fired.
If they
Like,
don't win a
that
national
may be the
championship,
thing that
he's
gets him
going
fired.
to get fired.
Yeah, not even. I would say maybe there's a safety net if they make the semifinal, but you might be right. Like if he does not go all the way, they've fallen short of expectations, and that's the same thing here for Wes, where I think like a lot of people are putting that heat on him because it's like you've done everything. We could not be happier with the way that this team has been assembled. The identity of the brand is coming back. There's that tough and nasty basketball. People are gritty. The guys are hustling. Defense is back. Like there's certain elements of the game that have been missing for a while. And now you feel like it's finally there and the talent's there. But again, like this is why this game matters, because almost all of that doesn't mean shit if you don't beat Xavier. Like it's just one of those things that's just that nagging little thing in the back of your head that will never go away, which is the classic Xavier fan, but it will not go away. And you have to get over that hump. Like you got to do it.
My dad, right after Ohio State lost to Michigan, he's a huge Ohio State fan, like enormous. And he was just like, he was calling for Ryan Day's head like the second that they lost the game. And he didn't even like realize it wasn't even on his radar that Ohio State was still going to make the playoff. He was so angry that he was just like, the season's done. I don't care about anything else. Get him out of there. Find it. And then I was like, but you guys are still going to the playoff. And he was like, oh, well, we can get an interim head coach for that.
That's how it is though. Like, I was watching the game with family and my aunt and uncle. Like before they even lost, I think they had to punt once, and they're like, "Get him out of here." He's okay, but we've talked a lot about just like the whole aura around the game and stuff. But what's it going to take for UC? Because I haven't watched much of them either, other than a little bit of the Villanova game because it was the only one on TV that they played.
Because somebody called me and said, watch the Villanova game.
But what are the keys to the game for UC?
I think one
Justin,
of the big
do you
ones
want to bring out our 3 dart? Oh, go ahead, Justin. Joel.
I'll bring that out too. I'll be happy to bring that out.
Justin, you seem more prepared, so please go ahead.
We made a dart meme last year. A guy throwing darts, crowd goes fucking ballistic. Beautiful video just on its own. But we adapted it for our own personal use. And it's the 3 keys to every game. And if the Bearcats don't satisfy these, they will not win a big game.
Okay.
It could be any game, but a big game, they're going to lose if they don't satisfy them. That would be 35% shooting from 3. That would be 70% plus shooting from the line, which is a god-awful, miserable conversation, which Steve knows how much I harp and talk about free throws. Damn it, do they matter, especially in the big games. It burned us all season last year. It's going to do it again to us this year if we can't close out games at the end because we screw up our free throws and we go like 3 for 15 at the line. It's obscene. That, and of course, Steve, what's the last one?
Win the rebounding battle, you know.
That it
can't get your ass kicked on the glass, you know.
Can't get your ass kicked on the glass. Those 3 things, I think if they satisfy that, like I literally think if they can shoot 35% from the 3, if they can actually get to the line, which I think has been one of our biggest struggles this year in a way that we didn't really expect. We're like 15th right now in the Big 12 in free throw percentage, but also in free throw attempts. Like we cannot get to the line for some reason. Of course, a big part of that is the game. It's the spacing. It's the heavier volume and 3-point shooting. More jumpers, more floaters, more faders. Like we're doing a lot of that in the way that, we're not really going to the teeth, but guys got to play physical. Like Aziz really has to get physical in these types of games or it's not going to convert. It's not going to matter. Mitchell, I think, is definitely bringing that, but you got to go into the teeth. of Xavier. Otherwise, I don't think that it's going to work. And again, this game every year, I think, is really determined by how tough are you playing on the boards? Are you fighting tooth and claw to get every single rebound or not? And if you're not going to be that hustle team, the other team's going to do it.
And so,
you need to be ready for, I mean, not a literal fight, but you need to be ready for a fight.
Well,
because this is going to be no, but it's going to be like there's going to be a couple hard fouls that are questionable that they're going to the monitor. Are you going to be able to, like, are you a guy that is able to look at that and have it motivate you, or are you a guy that's just going to turn into like a guy that's talking shit to the bench the rest of the game, even though you have 2 points and 1 rebound? Like, which guy are you going to be? And the team that's able to handle that and all of the media and all of the cameras and just everything that's going on around you, like when Xavier gets there to warm up, there's going to be a host of people sitting there ready to, dox the Xavier players' girlfriends. And they're going to it's going to be crazy. Can you handle it? And if you can't handle it, you're going to get your ass beat. So, I mean, UC's in a good spot this year because they get to play at home. They have they have that advantage, and Xavier needs to go in there and they need to be ready for the fact that, Trey Green has never played at UC. Fremantle's the only one that we have that's played at UC. The only guy that we have that's played at UC is Fremantle. Yeah.
Has Jerome? When did Jerome have played the last?
Jerome should have.
I thought Jerome was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
You're right. Jerome would have been there. Yeah.
So those
those two guys are the only guys that have any experience playing in this game with a hostile crowd. So how are they going to handle it?
And then, so the other thing for me is that there's 2 dudes that I want to point out that did not play in this game last year against Xavier. One was on the team and one was not. One was Seamoss Lukosius. You guys know him from Butler and stuff. And during the second half of the season, he really kind of became our go-to guy whenever we needed a bucket. That was kind of the concern last year, is we don't really have one bucket getter, one guy that you can just hand the ball to and he'll find some points for you. And he became that guy. And he didn't really have it in the Nova game, but he's really shown that again this year. There was a couple games where he's hit 5 threes. He's come out really firing this year.
Real fast, do either of you guys own a Honda Accord?
Let's not talk about that. Oh god.
No, I have a Mercedes. Kenny has a Rolls Royce. So
making decent money.
Just making sure.
Coop, are you setting up
it's weird. I thought Kenny'd have a punch bug.
Yeah, I do. I actually have an extra one. That's what I keep. I keep that in storage.
Nice, man.
It's the extra one for Joel after
Coop, I thought you were going to set up a put a fries in the bag joke there,
That's actually what you see people on Twitter say to me when I talk shit about the Xavier UC game. Yeah, just put the fries in the bag, bro. Which is great it's great when they do that because it's one of my favorite memes. Every single time I see it, I laugh.
Steve, I don't want to cut you off. I'll let you finish. But very side note, it is great, the memes and just the quotes that come out of this rivalry.
Yeah. The Xavier Twitter, you were saying before we started, Coop, the second deck mutants,
yes.
Kenny, I've met a bunch of fine Xavier fans in real life, people I'd have a beer with. I've been to Dana Gardens multiple times before, all nice people. Shout out to Pierce and the crew there. They're all cool people. I've worn UC gear in there before and they haven't kicked me out. So, just they're speaks to their character. Right. Yeah, exactly. But man, the people we run across on Twitter, dude. And now I will say this, this is one of my favorite stories about this rivalry. I went into Dana's after the 17-18 game where McCure was talking shit to Mick after the game, that one, where we were both ranked, and it was at Centos. And so I was at the game and I went into Dana's after, and, people were giving me all sorts of shit because, obviously Xavier won. I was wearing UC stuff. But, I'm a big guy. I don't really care. Whatever. And you literally won the game. You get to talk all the shit you want to me. Whatever. But the best part was that there was a girl who was waiting for a beer at the bar, and she turned around and she saw me and she's like, "You guys couldn't even cover the fucking spread, man. You guys are a joke." And I'm like, God, no other rivalry that UC has. And I think that's the best part about this too, guys, is that we don't really have a football rival like that. Really. We don't. I thought you guys were going to bring back the non-scholarship and bring back the Dayton
No,
rivalry.
Yeah, we all love that.
once the medical school starts making money, we're gonna have a football team. We're gonna be playing like NAIA or something. It's gonna be sick.
I can't wait.
I didn't want to make any jokes, but I've seen some of the financial statements lately, and I was wondering, like, I know you guys are getting closer.
What? But the thing is, Xavier just had a donor give like $80 million, so we're gonna be all right.
That's awesome. I'd rather they be in the news for that than a player pulling his pants down in a bar.
Yeah. Hey.
What's this have to do with the Honda Accord?
Sometimes you just feel like sometimes you just feel like you're on top of the world, man. You do whatever you want.
Sure. I've been to RP Murphy's on Mug Club. I get it. I get it. The other player real quick was Connor Hickman. He transferred from Bradley last year. He's also got that ability to kind of be that bench guy that you guys were talking about for Xavier Hughley, I think you said. I think Hickman, he's already shown it once this year. He had 14 points in the game against Georgia Tech, and I think if he really gets a chance to just get some spacing, and if Xavier is obviously focusing on CMOS and Jizzle to really try and cover those two guys, I think if he gets open and knocks down a couple, that would be huge for us, just because I think of this game as like almost like a football game, honestly, man. Like, you kind of want to get an early lead and just try to defend that lead for the rest of the game, because there's been too many times where UC's been in this game and they go down early and it feels like they're fighting uphill, especially at Cintas. Like, it feels like there was one point in the game last year where UC cut it to like maybe 5 or something, and then I think like Xavier went on a quick run like right away after that, and it's just like, you don't need to make this game any harder on yourself than it already is. It's a tough physical game, and it's hard to score points. It's hard to get buckets, and I honestly kind of think of it as a football game where you want to build up an early lead and try to really like hold on to that lead for the entire game, because there's no quit on that other side. So like,
I have watched the Bearcats build up many leads this year, and it has been a miserable experience.
I'm trying to be confident, Justin. Come on, man.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
But what's it have to do with a Honda Accord?
Oh God.
CMOS?
You don't, Coop, you don't know the joke.
No.
Oh wow, that flew over everybody's head. Damn, that's kind of sad. Now I see why that just kind of went left.
Lucocious unfortunately got hit by a car last year.
I knew that
on Jefferson Avenue, and like, was it found to be a Honda Accord? Like, was it literally
I just always say it's a Honda Accord, because if you go out on the road, the number one most likely vehicle to smash into you at any point in time is a Honda Accord.
Okay.
Or a Nissan Maxima, that too.
Yeah,
well,
it's
either one.
Nissans or
well, anytime you're crossing a street on campus, you always look at a car and say, "Hit me, I get free tuition." But he's already getting it, so there's kind of no
and more.
No benefit to that. Yeah,
but regardless, there's an inside like background Bearcat.
Well, to be real, like
I thought for a second I thought, because I drove a Honda Civic in college. So when you said that, I was like, is he making fun of the car I used to drive? No. And I was like, there's no way he knows that I drove a Honda Civic. Like, that's not common knowledge, like, so I was like, I don't know.
Joke's on you. We work at the DMV. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
Just give me my plate, bro.
Yeah, well,
just put the fries in the bag, bro.
Yeah. Well, because CMOS didn't play in the game last year, and I really do feel like he would have made a difference. And I felt like 100%. Just losing him as they were just building up their chemistry early in the season was a big loss for UC. And I do feel now more confident in Jizzle James being the second-year player, Dylan Mitchell, the transfer. He's played in big games like this before. He knows what it's going to be like. And we've got Aziz, we've got Lucocious. And I do feel like we can run 9 deep, honestly, with I don't know how many minutes like Tyler Betsy, who's a true freshman, is going to play in this game. Like, maybe every now and then you throw him in, like, get a chance at an open 3, but definitely Hickman. He's like been a 4-year player in college. He knows what games like this are like. I think he would be a huge asset coming off the bench, and he would be big for us. And then, Dan Skillings is the other one too. Like, I just want to know how effective he's going to be. He looked okay yesterday, just coming back from injury, but he missed 6 games in between first game of the season and yesterday. And honestly, I didn't think he was going to be back for this game because, you know, it's a long season. You don't need to rush him back. But I'm so glad that he is because, like, I want both teams to be at full strength for this game.
I don't. I'd rather Xavier be at full strength and UCU be at a disadvantage of something.
Well, and that's what happened last year. You get one, you get your free pass. You don't get that anymore. Now you got to play the full squad.
That's a ripoff.
You got to play the full ranked Bearcat squad.
Can I get on my soapbox real quick about something I'm disappointed in the rivalry about?
Sure.
The protecting of the statues has just gone so downhill over the years. It seems like no one cares about that anymore. And every single year there is a jersey on, at least on the Oscar statue. I haven't really seen it on the Muskie statue.
That's because you'll get tased.
Yeah. I think it's like the statute of limitations or something.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah. But
Well,
yeah, you're right though. It does seem to be like it's just happening and stuff.
Like Xavier students will camp out the night before just to get into the arena. And I feel like Bearcats fans just haven't put the effort forward in previous years. Like they'll be there until midnight and then leave. And it's the easiest thing to just walk up after they leave.
Well, the other one too is the Vine Street Bearcat that is never clothed now. And
like that's not on campus, so that doesn't count.
What you guys should do is kind of like a what was that? Like the Trojan horse thing or whatever. Like you guys bring in a new statue and put it on Xavier's campus, and it's of like David West. So they think, and then like you plant the statue down, and then next thing you know, like you rip off like the protective stuff, and it's just like engraved a UC like jersey on the statue. So I don't know how much money you guys are.
I was going to say that
now.
sounds like a commission that might take a couple years.
That sounds like
some planning going in here.
That sounds like some Cincy Light, Cincy Reigns money. So we'll get right on that.
There is one great picture that, I mean, like if you guys want to joke that it's been so long that UC beat Xavier at Cintas that I can't find the picture anymore. It was from like the first game at Cintas between the two, and like the UC flag is flying on the court, and then David West is just walking off and obviously upset that they lost. Like, and it's gone now to internet. Like they always told us in school that the internet lasts forever, but like that picture is just gone now.
No,
so.
it's really like the post 2012 internet lasts forever.
Yeah.
Unless you're trying to find a specific video on Twitter, forget it. You'll never find it.
No.
Yeah.
God.
There was a dude that I watch on Instagram. He was like, I have Rocco's Modern Life quotes that it would take you 3 hours to find on the internet. It's just like that time. It's gone to history.
It's just crazy that the second round of the 2018 NCAA tournament was just erased from the internet, though.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That tournament didn't even happen. Like at
I don't
all.
know.
I don't recall that. Do you? Do you guys recall?
No,
that?
I don't recall it at all.
No.
So
I look at Bridgestone Arena fondly. I pass it all the time. Nothing happened there.
The internet is forever. Banners fly forever. What's your guys' favorite banner that you have hanging in Cintas? Is it any of the NIT ones?
Nope. It's Two Holloway's jersey.
Mine is actually this one right here. This has been
that actually has been hanging at Cintas before.
Has it really?
That's
cool.
Actually
pretty awesome.
Last year we got to do. They have a media room that's like at the top of the arena, and we did a couple podcasts from up there. And
that's so cool.
The first time we looked up and we were like, oh wow, if we'd have turned that sign around, you could see it. So the second time we posted it right in the window, and it's just like this giant roll blob pod sign. It was pretty sweet.
That's
awesome.
Gonna
get like a full on, like actual like neon sign and put that up there.
Yeah, we should.
We've got the old Barstool Cincy flag hanging in Murphy's. That's our claim to fame.
Oh yeah,
that's about it.
Can I show you guys something still? So, Coop, you just mentioned Twitter. I still have the I don't know if you can see it, but I still have the Twitter app on my phone because I can't have X on my phone. You know,
I literally was about to ask that, Steve. You beat me to it. What is it like having an app named after the worst school in existence?
Well, I see Amex right there.
Amex,
Amex, the Amex app. How do you close out of a browser on your laptop? You minimize everything.
People have been talking about how Elon Musk is a giant Xavier fan. That's why he named it X.
Elon Musketeers. That's what Musk is short for.
There's a lot of connections there.
Is that the mystery donor who keeps giving money to you guys then?
That's correct.
No, I think if it was him, it'd probably been something more like 800 million.
Yeah, and all the players be driving like Teslas and stuff. You know?
Wait, let's be like totally honest.
Honda Civics.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
What would you?
Well, that was before we could get paid.
What would you do like if Xavier got like a quarter mil, just quarter bill, just dropped into the bucket? Like, you're coach, you guys are coach, you are GM and president. All things are go. What are you gonna do if you have that much money?
Of
Like,
just
Xavier, are you
basketball,
gonna
or
build a
like you're
football
the
team, or are you
president
gonna
of the university?
I'm gonna find a way to funnel it to my bank account and then go.
He's gonna
let's say total campus.
I'm going to jail for some sort of embezzlement, like fraud.
No, I mean, like, so I don't know. I mean, the thing is like, I wouldn't really do anything structurally as far as like building a new arena or something, because I think Cintas is like, it's become such a landmark for Xavier fans that like I don't think that would ever change. Man, I don't, because I have such a big problem with all of these. I mean, I think that the kids should be paid. I don't want to sound like an old man that's just angry about things, but like, I think that it's gotten out of control, right? Like, I think that they need to have it be like, okay, you come play for this school, no matter what school it is, and you're making $100,000 a year, and just cut it at that, give it an amount that they can make. And then it's just regular recruiting again. Take away, like, if you transfer, you have to sit out a year unless your coach left. Like, I think that there are ways to make this better while still having the kids be paid. And so like the $250 million, like, man, it would be hard for me to be like, okay, I'm going to go build a team next year for $25 million. Like, that would just be so frustrating to me if I had to do that to bring a good team to Xavier. You know what I mean? So $250 million, like, probably fucking get a football team.
And maybe repave the roads around campus.
No, I like those there. I like those.
Oh man,
no, just fill them in. Not even fill them in. Just leave the potholes.
I mean, with a Rolls Royce, you probably don't feel the potholes.
You don't feel the potholes with a Rolls Royce. No, I have it lifted up like 6 inches too. So
maybe expand one of the only other bars on campus, Stone Lanes.
Stones is awesome.
Add a few extra lanes.
No, Stones was actually cool. They've reached out to us before and be like, yeah, you guys want to do like a fundraiser or something? Like, all right, yeah, sure. Like, they did a fundraiser for the UC club hockey team a couple times. So
our never going there again.
My good friend Pat, is like the main guy there. He does a lot of good stuff there. But he also ate 1,000 cheese conies in a year. If you Google Skyline, you'll see.
Oh yeah.
Oh, was that it?
I remember that.
Yeah, that was him.
Yeah.
What's your guy? I mean, biggest sponsorship of the rivalry? What's your guys' Skyline order?
You know, mine changes like just depending if it's for lunch or for dinner, and I go through like seasons of like I'm a real big Cholito guy for a little bit, then it's a 3-way, then it's conies, then it's chili cheese sandwiches. I think what I fall back to most of the time is 4 chili cheese sandwiches, no onion, a lot of hot sauce.
All right.
I get a 5-way with the biggest 5-way they got, and then I get like 3 conies with everything that, I mean, I don't get to eat it very often, so when I go, I just try and get as much as I can.
Oh, it was unreal going to Skyline with Kenny. It was unreal.
Have you
like
guys
Dante Corleone order?
Yeah.
Have you guys tried either the mac and cheese 3-way or the Skyline breakfast menu?
The Skyline breakfast menu, I've been too afraid to. And I think one of their test locations was the airport, and I'm like, man, I don't want to make them turn the plane around.
I know you live in you live close to the Loveland Skyline. That one has breakfast regularly. The breakfast Cholitos are solid.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What, like it's eggs and stuff or what?
It's eggs.
Look at that. Joel just doxed him.
Yeah.
We were talking about doxing earlier. It's
you live at 123 Main Street,
yeah.
close to Loveland, Ohio.
Right.
Skyline Way.
You can see Coop's house from space, so it's fine.
Yeah, I live in the old Cintas Center scoreboard, actually.
Coop was chopping down trees one of these times, just trying to help like build a foundation. Yeah.
Speaking of trees, how is that? Is the tree thing still going on from last year?
Unfortunately, it is. Yeah, and
unfortunately, we're planting more trees.
Well, the thing is not that the trees are being planted; it's that we don't know where they're being planted.
That's the thing.
I want to know that there's trees actually being planted, and then Coop obviously he wants to know so he can equally cut down that amount of trees.
Yeah, and, like it is just frustrating because I've been trying to like dig a little deeper, no pun intended, and find out where these are being planted. And I've reached out to people at Xavier and with the companies they're associated with, and radio silence. They're not telling me where the trees are being planted, who's planting them, anything like that, how often they're planted. Like, say they hit 9 threes, they're planting 90 trees, whatever. When? Is it right now? I look around, I see the same amount of trees every day. They're not local trees.
Where's the trees? Where are they planting all the trees?
I mean, my thing is like, just plant the trees. Why does Xavier have to make threes to get trees planted? Like that.
Yeah.
I mean, the sinking for chicken thing last year, but at least people got they got something tangible that next day. You go get freaking Chick-fil-A, you get your freaking 10 free nuggets. Like, at least it was something right away. You're getting that. These trees, I mean, I don't know. Can't be trusted.
Yeah. No.
So are you saying that there's something not trustworthy about the background operations of Xavier University?
No, it's not that. It's not Xavier University. It's the third parties. They're outside the house. Huh?
What is the company?
Coop.
That's
it's like what is it called? Formica, whatever.
Yeah,
it's Formica?
Let's dox this company.
Yeah, but I think it's like
let's get some answers here.
I don't even think it has anything to do with trees. I think it's just like a company that's like, hey, we'll put our name with it and plant these trees.
I think that's our headline grab, boys. Xavier lies about promoting
sustainability.
Forestation.
Xavier is greenwashing.
And Kenny Frease refuses to support Norwood small business.
One of my favorite days on the internet was, I think, during COVID, you guys put out like a bracket of best Xavier basketball moments presented by Rumpke, and oh brother, that was like that was a gold mine for me. Yeah, you don't remember that? Like,
I missed that.
Oh, yeah, like it was I think the number one.
It seems like such a bad idea.
It's such a self-owned.
And the number one seed was the 54 NIT championship, So it's just like
that's the thing with
it used to mean more in the 50s.
That's fair.
Okay, Boomer.
Well, Joel, what were you saying?
I don't know. I forget.
Are there any colored pictures of when UC won their championships?
Are there any pictures of when Xavier won theirs?
Yeah, we were featured on Sports Illustrated, sir. Front the cover.
It was literally illustrated, though.
Yeah.
Illustrated
Sports.
Hot off the press.
Yeah. Well, that's the funniest part about the rivalry too. Is just like the shit talk. Like, anytime, like, just we were talking about it earlier, like the middle school thing, like, and anytime one of us does something stupid, the other team is just ready to just pounce all over it like that. Like, I love my guy Paul Fritchner, shout out to him, but when I was on the Barstool team, he was doing a post-game recap, I think, for the Xavier Twitter account, and he like tried a beer at one of the bars or something. He's like, oh, light and refreshing. And then I made that into a like the "we'll be right back" meme, and I tweeted it every time you guys lost that year. I went, and then like that year we beat you guys, so I feel like I can't really talk trash if we lose, but if we win, then it's just like a full year of it. But dude, I also tried to. Go ahead.
Sorry. Well, I was just this last year, just like talking about how the Twitter itself is just like gas on a flame, for rivalries like this. And so like when you really sit down and you actually talk to people, like I was at the casino in Cincinnati. I sat down at a blackjack table and I was sitting there playing for a little bit. And then these two guys sit down and they're both wearing UC stuff. And we're sitting there talking, and I can't remember who it was. I think it was maybe Ian Coop that like came up and said something. It was for his birthday. Yeah, and he said something about like, I can't believe we're playing blackjack with Kenny Frease or something like that. And the two UC guys were just like, what? They look over at me. And so we sat there and we were just shooting the shit for like 2 hours. I bought them like 6 beers and we're just like having a good time. And they were just like, man, they really make you feel, they really like UC really makes us believe that you guys all are the fucking worst. Like they just like, and like with Twitter, especially now, being able to just talk shit, and especially because like my online persona is not what I'm like in real life. So I'm talking shit like crazy on Twitter. So like, it's just interesting, that dynamic of everything as well. Just the shit talking on Twitter is the best. This time of year is so much fun.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah, there's songs about that.
Yeah. Well, that's the funny part too, is that like I like Mo Egger. I feel like he's fair. Like I know he's a UC fan, but I feel like he's fair to both UC and X, and like covers them both on his show and stuff. And but the thing that's funny to me is that he's had a pretty consistent take for about like 10 years now that the rivalry like isn't what it used to be. And I'm not old enough to know what it was like in the 90s, but like you step onto Twitter like anytime at all during this week, and they're just like, it's a tire fire. Like it just like, there's shots being thrown left. I mean, like 365, honestly, you're like, I mean, I was the first one to send up a tweet like after Nasty Natty beat Zip 'em Up last year. And I was watching that game like it was like mid-December, and I was like, like in my living room in July, like like a good UC fan, just watching that. But yeah, it's awesome, and like that's why Kenny, I know you're talking about just like how people say it's not our Super Bowl, but like I hate those people because it's just such a loser mentality, dude. Like it's like such like oh, we lost, but guess what? It doesn't matter. Like, no, that sucks, dude. I hate
that. If I saw like, say UC comes out, wins this game, and I see one Xavier fan say something like that, I'm going in. Like there's nobody. I don't care. Like, you're not a real fan. If you're saying that, you're just not a real fan. Like, yeah. And they'll be the first people talking shit after Xavier wins. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah, for sure.
That kind of stuff just rubs me the wrong way. Like, if you're gonna lose like a man and be pissed about it. You know what I mean? Like, don't just act like it doesn't matter and try and be the cool guy.
That's when you trash talk your own team, not the other team.
Yeah.
Or just eat it. You just say, yep, like, good game.
Yeah.
And then you just deal with the shit that comes to you for the next year until you get another opportunity.
We've been doing that for 5.
I think you guys have beat it out of me the past few years, and I have not really like talked as much trash like leading up to the game this year as I usually do. It'll ramp up, don't worry. But I don't know, whatever reason, like it's just like, man, I just kind of want to see us win. Like I just want to see us like actually win because like
I can't put my finger on it. I really just want to see us win. I don't know why.
I
don't know what it is about it.
Don't understand.
Keys to the game: score more points than the other team.
The make shots offense. Yeah.
When you guys had your like 3 darts, like we have something similar. Like our 3 keys to the game are usually score more points, win the race to 69. And then run the make shots offense.
Yes. Quality. Yeah. I think
you'll
win a game.
That's analytics to its core right there. Yeah. That's what the Roll Blob podcast is all about.
That's how we do it.
Mm-hmm.
So real quick before we wrap up, we've been doing this year, we've been using our friends at bartorvik.com to look at spreads, because for whatever reason, college basketball and basketball spreads in general don't come out until like 24 hours before the game. But Bartorvik, shout out to them. They have it available just for anybody. Definitely consider supporting them with a subscription. I'm thinking about breaking the seal and getting my first Ken Palm subscription this year because we actually look like we're going to be good. So I might go to some good use. But our friends at Bartorvik have this game as a 9.9 spread with a total of 142 points. So, gentlemen, you guys are our guests on our show. We pick each UC game. So I'll let you be the first to pick. We'll make it an even 10. How about that?
I was going to say 9.9 just sounds like a fake guess.
Cincinnati -10, over under 142. What you got?
I'm going to say definitely over 142. And I mean, honestly, going into the game right now, I think that 10 points is probably pretty. It's probably pretty realistic. It's just, but like we said before, this game doesn't come down to spreads. It doesn't come down to records. It doesn't come down to stats. I mean, it literally is just, if it's not a dogfight, Xavier's not going to have a chance to win the game because they're not playing well enough to just go out and beat a team. They need to go out and play with emotion and be ready to go to war if they want to win this game. And that's just what it's going to be. And UC's at home, which is going to give them, I don't know, 5-7 points anyway. So it's just, I think that the number is probably pretty accurate, but Xavier needs to come out and just play hard. They need to play like men. They need to go to war.
Yeah, and I actually do have a DeLorean, so I can go to the future. And Xavier does win this game 86-81.
Wow.
Okay.
You own a lot of
That's
cars.
Almanac.
I have two.
Didn't
Yeah.
take too much of a bit, guy, but,
The Mercedes and the DeLorean.
That's factual. That's not a bit. That's factual.
Right. Yeah.
Well, it's funny that you say that, Kenny, like about like the spread, because I just opened it up and it was kind of shocking to me to like see that number so high because his spreads have been pretty close to what the actual like, you know, betting lines have been. But yeah, like 10 points on a rivalry game just seems like way too much. Like I would never bet on Xavier, no offense. I even if I won money, I would still not like cheering for y'all. So I don't think I would like, but 10 points is like a crazy amount of points. Like it does seem like just a lot, especially in this game, knowing what you guys have done, knowing what that atmosphere is going to be like.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is like, the problem with spreads that I've found all year. I mean, because I go down and I bet every night. Like I'm looking at different games and the spreads.
Degenerate.
Yes, the spreads that yeah, right. The spreads this year have been so insane. Like it doesn't seem like. I mean, I feel like I watch the NFL, I watch college football, and I watch college basketball. And those are the sports that I watch. I don't watch anything else. College football NFL football, it feels like they're on that number like 90% of the time. And maybe it's just like confirmation bias or something.
Script writers. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But by the way, go Vikings. But other than that, with college basketball, it's just been off the wall this year. Like they're just throwing darts at a dartboard right now and picking spreads. Like, and then yes, in a rivalry game, it's tough to have them -10, but at the same time, like I said, any of these before they even start doing the spread, they're going to give the home team 5 or 6 points regardless, and then go from there. So, like, I mean, then I guess if you're calling it a 4-point spread, that probably makes more sense for a rivalry game. But you know, I guess we'll have to see. Like these dudes better be ready for a war, and if they're not, I'm going to be very vocal about because I've always kind of had this mindset of, you know, you don't talk shit about college basketball players because they're playing for a school, they're on scholarship, you know, whatever, they're student athletes. But now these guys are getting paid, so they've opened if they want to get paid, then they're going to get treated like adults. So if you're going to go out there and you're going to make $300,000 in a year and you're going to give me, and I don't know what he's making, that's not me saying that, but like you're going to make that money and you're going to give me one 3-point shot and one rebound in 14 minutes, like that's not enough. You need to go out and you need to play better. If you want to be paid, first of all, I think all these contracts should be public for everybody to see, because if you're going to get paid, you need to be treated like a professional. And if you're not, and you're being shielded by that, then you're having your cake and you're eating it too. Like that, those two things should not go together. I disagree with all of that in the way that college basketball has handled this.
Very fair. Well, Steve, Joel,
what about you?
I could absolutely see this game staying under the total. Like I could see this being a 68-64. Like I agree that I think the 10 points it's jarring when you first think about it, just being a rivalry game. So I could see Xavier covering for sure, but I mean, I'm never going to bet against the Cats, so I've got to take them regardless.
And that's why you can't afford a mic. That's why you're wearing headphones.
So is your partner in crime over there.
Yeah, but you're an easy.
Yeah, but I got these from Gordon Hayward, so that's fine.
That's a flex. That's actually pretty sweet if
Something
that's
light.
true.
That's pretty cool.
No, but to your point, I could definitely see the game being low scoring. But what I'm saying is, if Xavier's going to win, it's going to be a high scoring game. That's kind of where my mindset is. They're going to have to come out. They're going to have to shoot 42% from the 3-point line. They're going to have to get to the free throw line. And like that's going to be Xavier's key to success. They're not a great defensive team. They are a great 3-point shooting team. They haven't done it yet this year, but they have a lot of guys that can go. So that's why I'm saying, if Xavier's going to win, and absolutely, I'm taking Xavier money line all day, and I'm taking the over. But I don't bet on Xavier, so I don't bet on Xavier, I don't bet on Notre Dame, and I don't bet on the Vikings. Those are my 3 bugaboos.
We should always bet on ourselves.
Yeah,
Well,
I bet on myself every
I
day.
bet on the Bearcats this past week, and I took Howard to cover the spread, and it paid out. And this is going to be yet another game where the Bearcats do not cover the spread. Bearcats winning for sure. I feel very confident about that in a way that I haven't in a long time, even though I said I don't feel confident. I really don't. It's false confidence. I'm just trying to bump it up. But Bearcats win the game. They don't cover. I realistically think this is going to come down to, like, if we're lucky, if all of us on this little video call right now are lucky, it's going to come down to like a 3-point buzzer beater, and it's going to be fucking electric.
Yeah.
But it'll probably come down to free throws, and it'll be a 3 or 4 point game at the end. Bearcats on top, and I'm going to take the over.
Sounds good. I mean, I hope it's an over, because like that means it's an exciting game. Like I'm kind of glad we've left the rock fights in the past with Mick. Like we seem to have an offense and a defense now, which is a little change for UC fans. 2 years of Brandon, we had neither, and then I like all those years with Mick, we had defense and almost no offense. So it would be nice, but I'm just excited, man. Like this week is always like one of my favorite weeks of the year. I kind of like that it's in December, like really like give it a time and a place for it every year. Because I feel like it used to change all the time. It was in January, February, like there was a couple times it was in November. So I like that it's just become an event, same time every year. And then it's just, and this has become an event too, talking to you boys. So I do definitely appreciate you guys coming on, having to deal with us ruffians for, however long we did. Like it's always fun, boys.
Yeah. Thanks for having us, man.
Hey, I got one more thing for you before we leave. This is just a good fun fact for you. The only game that I did not watch for the Bearcats this entire season so far was the Villanova game. We lost. The last time that I was in attendance for a shootout game in Fifth Third, the Bearcats won. So I will be in attendance for this game, and I will be watching this game.
So you're saying we need to slash your tires?
Quite possibly.
Drive your Honda
from the arena.
Drive your Honda Accord right down Jefferson Avenue as he's walking across into the stadium.
There you go. It's not a
I'll
bad
put
idea.
my head on a swivel.
Yeah, right.
I'll be parking in like CCM or something. I'm going to be like inter-campus parking. Can't go outside that.
Flex.
Yeah.
You got money or something, Justin? Damn.
Yeah.
No, when we go to Xavier games, we park in the parking deck with our passes. So.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
That's
well, UC has not tried to acknowledge us yet, but maybe one day, maybe like they feel like we're a little bit of a renegades, and our 247 guy likes to be a renegade too, and was fighting a fight for about a good 2 weeks there with a middle school principal. So,
I was about to say, maybe we just need to rename our podcast and they'll notice us.
Maybe
put
that's
the
Cincinnati
right on our logo.
Bearcats.
Yeah.
Something or other. Well, gentlemen, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on every single year. Again, this is the 4th annual now Crosstown Crossover. Some changing faces every time, but nice to have some consistent ones too. And of course, the Roll Blob Pod you can find on Twitter. We're not going to mention the other thing that you could call that app because that would be unjust. So you can find them on Twitter. You can find them other places too.
You could at least say the app formerly known as Twitter.
No, it'll always be Twitter.
It's always Twitter. It's always Twitter. Kenny, Coop, please let us know where you need us to follow you and plug yourself.
Well, I'm at Coop Led, Twitter, Instagram. Don't add me on Facebook. And Roblog Pod everywhere. Watch us on YouTube if you're a Xavier fan. We stream every away game, do like virtual watch parties and stuff. So yeah, follow us there.
Yeah, you can follow me, Tall Freak 1018, and if you want to, just go ahead and follow me, and you can join in with the slew of DMs and tweets and all of the crap that I'm going to be getting over the next week. Take part of that. That'll be a good time.
You guys are streaming the game on Saturday too, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Nice. Yeah.
Very
So
nice.
we're gonna DMCA you guys on YouTube. So we're gonna
Perfect.
Yeah.
We don't show the game, so it's all right.
I know, just mess with you.
Yeah.
For now.
For now.
Well, again, thank you guys for joining us. It's been a pleasure. We look forward to it next year. We're going to keep at it. We're going to keep doing this. We'll see how this whole thing shakes out. Will the Bearcats win? Will the Musketeers wins? We have no idea yet. It is going to be an absolute shootout. No questions asked. For myself, for Joel, for Steve, for Coop, for Kenny, thank you all for listening this week. Have a good one. Go Bearcats.
Yeah.